When we studied monuments, I mentioned that some monuments here in New Orleans and Louisiana are meant to remind us of our history and our culture here. And part of that is our French history and our French culture. Now, you may also remember that the French originally came to Louisiana and claimed it as their own, and Louisiana became part of France. But you might also remember that you're not a French person, you're an American. So, how did Louisiana go from being part of France to part of America? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today, and it's called the Louisiana Purchase. Now, the main idea of the Louisiana Purchase is that France sold Louisiana to the United States. Purchase means to buy. So every time you go to the store and purchase something, it just means that you buy something. Now, France sold Louisiana to the United States. Wait a minute, we need some background information here. What in the world would make one country sell their land to another country? Can you imagine if the United States said, you know what, we're kind of broke, we're going to sell Texas to Mexico, and Texas became part of Mexico? I haven't heard of any other situation like this. So let's get some background information to understand why this happened. Background information. Many settlers have come to Louisiana to live, starting with the Native Americans. Fill in your blanks. This is something you should already know, but the Native Americans are also filled in the blank on the screen. Also, we have seen groups like the Cajuns from Canada and the Africans from Africa. However, when the French settled there, they claimed it as their own. They built the city of New Orleans so they could trade along the Mississippi River. So before the French were there was no city of New Orleans. The French came there, built the city of New Orleans, and claimed that land as their own. Now, why would France then decide to sell Louisiana to the United States? Well, the French claimed Louisiana as their own, but their emperor, which is kind of like a king, Napoleon, was in the middle of a war in Europe and needed money to pay his army. He was also afraid his enemies, his worst enemies, Spain, would take Louisiana and become richer than him. So he had an idea. He would try to sell Louisiana to the United States. It's a perfect idea. He gets the money he needs, and Spain keeps their hands off of Louisiana. But will it work? Why did the Americans want Louisiana? Are you really going to shell out all that money for a whole state? Well, America was growing fast. In fact, they're running out of room and starting to fight with Native Americans who already lived in the land they were moving to. So the president, Thomas Jefferson, decided to buy Louisiana from France. So there you have it. It's the Louisiana Purchase. And remember, our main idea is that Louisiana was bought by the United States from France. Now, we know the main story, but every once in a while on tests, we have to use documents to get a little more information. So we're going to use this document to see what information we can get about the Louisiana Purchase. Now, I put a few lines because I just want us to put just about any information that we can find from this document. So first, I'm going to look at just the colors and the pictures. I'm not seeing any key, so I'm going to have to try and figure it out on my own. And the first thing I notice is that the Louisiana Purchase was huge. Look, this is normal day Louisiana, but the Louisiana Purchase was much bigger. So one thing I'm learning, first of all, is that Louisiana, abbreviated by LA, was bigger. I wish I had a key. I guess I don't, so I'm going to have to start reading all this text here to see what else I can get. I'm noticing the information here on the green talks about the Louisiana Purchase, and it also mentions, it was from France. It was bought from France. I can put that information too. It's something I already knew, but it's information that I can also have evidence for on this document. Bought from France. Now, I want you to see if you can find at least one or two more facts, at least one. Extra credit if you get two, but at least one. If you can find one more fact about the Louisiana Purchase on this document. You also have a multiple choice question, like you see on many of your tests, about the Louisiana Purchase based on a document. So good luck with your questions. Move on to your exit ticket. And I want you to remember this main idea that the Louisiana Purchase is when France sold Louisiana to the United States. So the reason you're an American and not a French person is because of the Louisiana Purchase.